The National Democratic Congress has called for a thorough investigation into the matter while fingering the Electoral Commission of being complicit in the missing biometric verification devices. This call comes after the Electoral Commission kept mute about the missing equipment until the National Democratic Congress demanded the whereabouts of the equipment. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress is demanding that the EC be held accountable for the missing equipment.
The Electoral Commission must explain its inaction and its choice to withhold information critical to the trust and confidence in our electoral system. The stakes are too high for such negligence, or worse, deliberate obfuscation. Ladies and gentlemen, since the last meeting of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, on Tuesday, April 9, 2024, and our subsequent engagement with the press, we have received new and additional information on the theft of the components of the biometric voters registration BVR kits. We have also become aware that this new and additional information is not unknown to officials at the top echelons of the Electoral Commission. As a result, we remain convinced that the Electoral Commission and those with powers of prosecution were and have remained ill-prepared to pursue this theft case to its logical conclusion.
The National Democratic Congress is also asking the Electoral Commission to be transparent in dealing with Ghanaians.
These pieces of equipment are essential and carry a national security risk, which is precisely why they are monitored continuously. How can such critical assets be compromised when they are under constant watch? These stolen laptops represent a significant breach in the security protocols of the Electoral Commission. We suggest possible vulnerabilities that could be exploited during the actual elections. We must ask ourselves and demand answers from the EC about the potential for these devices to be used in crafting nefarious means to manipulate voter data or to clone voter registration processes. Is this not a recipe for electoral disaster that could question the very legitimacy of our governance system? Moreover, this incident casts a long and ominous shadow over the credibility and trustworthiness of the Electoral Commission.
The NDC says it will not be swayed by mere assurances without evidence, adding they will continue to demand action, accountability and transparency before, during and after the 2024 general elections.
In March 2024, the Minority Caucus of Parliament raised allegations of missing biometric verification devices at the Electoral Commission's office, demanding effective investigation into the issue. The Electoral Commission debunked the allegation of the minority, stating that 5 laptops have gone missing and not biometric verification devices, adding that the said devices will not in any way affect the December 2024 election. However, on Monday, April 14, 2024, Dr. Srebo Kwaku, the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, while giving an update concerning the missing Electoral Commission's equipments, disclosed that 5 suspected individuals have been handed over to the National Security for investigations concerning their involvement in the missing biometric verification devices. A situation which some believe has proven the allegations of the Minority Caucus on the missing BVDs right.
When you hear of the ability of those in charge to make these machines available to people to conduct registration exercises outside the advertised schedules, and you dismiss them, and you think they are exaggerated reports or they are things that can happen, only for you to hear that the Electoral Commission actually lost that number of machines and did not even find it necessary to report it. not to the political parties and not to the police.
According to Dr. Kwaku, he says they made a report.
That was after they were caught. That
was what Dr. Manibama was pinning him on.
That's
to give the exact
exactly. That was after they were found out.
I have worked closely on IT systems when it comes to elections. And when you are an interested party, you have to be very interested in what happens within that particular system. So I'm for the investigation, but I'm in a way questioning the rationale, because these people might have done something when they were in government, and they are thinking that something is being done for the MPP. I want to state here clear that the MPP has nothing to do with any matter concerned, because Omani Boama has in several other interviews, and my colleague Mustafa has continuously mentioned the MPP in these matters. And I want to state that we are going to win the 2024 general elections. We don't need any jara, any addition to any election victory that we are going to make. We are very much concerned that we have to protect the democratic process in this country, and we have to contribute positively to be able to achieve that.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. Here on Inside Pages, what we do is that we go through the pages for the week, and we settle on what we believe is the most topical issue for the week. The issues that perhaps some persons have not really paid attention to, but are very important and very critical for the people. So on Inside Pages this morning, we have two very important conversations to have. One, it's that the NDC has been very vocal on two very, very important issues. One has to do with some missing BVDs and BVR machines, which are very integral to the integrity and credibility of this year's elections. A news conference was held this week by the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete, and the party is actually calling for an independent probe or an independent investigations into the missing biometric verification devices and the biometric verification registration with the BVR equipment of the Electoral Commission. In fact, the party is contending that the uncertainty surrounding the Electoral Commission's data and equipment could jeopardize the fairness and the transparency of future elections. Now, we'd ask whether indeed the NDC's call is a fair one, whether it is legitimate, and then we have a few questions for the Electoral Commission. So that's the first question, that's the first topic indeed we intend to look at. And the second one, again, the NDC is amazed that the very political party, which is the New Patriotic Party, which bastardized and lampooned it and called it all sorts of names, when in 2015 the party decided to procure a plant, a Mary plant, to shore up Ghana's energy deficit, is today relocating that same Mary plant to its stronghold, which is the Ashanti region, in ways that it believes is unrealistic and is costly. But for them, more importantly, why would you even want to rename it? You're renaming it into Kumasi 1 Thermal Power Plant, the very machine that you say was procured under very dubious and very suspicious circumstances. In fact, the party at the time went to the extent of saying that it was laden with a lot of corruption. Remember all that happened with Kwabena Donko was then the power minister. When the NDC lost elections, his house was raided and all kinds of investigations were done. People went to Dubai and so on and so forth. But today, that very plant, the MPP is actually falling on to help the power crisis in the Ashanti region. And the NDC has three issues. One, why rename it? Two, why spend a whopping $35 billion in transporting it from the Western region to the Ashanti region? They think something is wrong there. And also, even relocating it in itself there doesn't make sense. So the NDC will come and explain and actually justify why they think all of these things is an issue. So these are the two key issues that we intend to look at on Inside Pages this morning. You don't want to miss it. Let me share with you a WhatsApp line so that those of you who have very strong and opinions that you intend to contribute to this conversation is 0249 155 646. Please put it down. It's 0249 155 646. So those are the two. So that's the WhatsApp line for you to join the conversation this morning. My name once again is Aldemoro. When I come back, I will be introducing my resource person. Stay tuned in. So welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. As I did indicate, we have two very important conversations to have this morning. The one has to do with the NDC's concerns about some missing devices that the Electoral Commission failed to inform them until they find out themselves. And they're asking what is the Electoral Commission up to because they believe something untoward, something very funny is happening. And then also they're asking for an independent probe into the circumstances that led to the, the theft, or how these machines got missing, and actually wondering why they didn't even inform them. They're also saying that there are CCTV cameras there where the machines have been kept. So by now, the Electoral Commission must have an idea as to, the guys or the prime suspect, and so on and so forth. And so those are the issues that we're going to be looking at. And also the second issue is that the government of Ghana, the Akufo-Addo administration, has decided to relocate the Ameri plant to the Ashanti region. They've just not relocated, but they've actually renamed it to Kumasi 1 thermal power plant. And the NDC is raising issues with that as well. The NDC thinks that, look, the least you can do after bastardizing this whole business of procuring Ameri and making it seem as if we were a bunch of thieves, the least you can do is to just maintain the name, don't change it. And also, why do you spend a whopping $35 million in relocating the plant from the western region to, and they think it's just too much? I mean, there's got to be some investigations into that as well. So those are the two key issues that we intend to look at. Now, this morning have very, very prominent resource persons who've joined us. My guest, I'll start, they say ladies first from my right, is a woman I call Auntie Susan for many, many years that I've known her since my days at City FM. She's taking time off her very busy schedule to join us this morning. She's called Susan Edu Amankwa. She's a pharmacist by profession. But now, I tell you what, the big news or the big story that I want to share with you is that she's now with a movement. She's no more an active member of the CPP, I want to believe. She's now with a movement. That's the Movement for Change. But now reinvigorated Movement for Revolutionary Change. She's a key member of that movement. I won't call them a political party. It's just a political organization. Maybe if I can put it that way. Auntie Susan, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure. Right. It came to some of us as a bit. I said, "What? But what's happening?" Because I know you to be somebody who is a dyed-in-the-wool CPP. You're not going to leave the CPP. I don't know what happened. Why did you decide to join this movement? In Nkrumah, it's not necessarily CPP. Okay. That's true. I think your microphone is her microphone on? I think it's, please put it on. Yes.
Okay.
Good. So you can start all over again.
Okay.
You're saying that you're still a dyed-in-the-wool.
I'm a dyed-in-the-wool in Nkrumah.
Okay.
So I'm not really necessarily a dyed-in-the-wool CPP. I loved my time in the CPP, but I think that it's not everything that you love that you have to stay with that, or is necessarily good for you. And so we make an evaluation and we move on, and I have moved on for a while now.
Okay.
And I think that for us in the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, we believe that we come as an alternative to the duopoly.
Okay.
I think Ghanaians are yearning for this alternative. There's so much despondency and despair because Ghanaians feel as if they have in a choiceless democracy. And so we come to give them choice, and we ask that they look at it in a different way,
right.
Something new, something that brings hope, something that says that you should never give up. And I believe that we want Ghanaians to feel in themselves that they are capable of breaking the duopoly.
Right.
We are tired of the duopoly.
Okay.
They have not, in the 32 years, they have shared it between themselves. This is where we are. They are not bringing anything new to the table except more despair and more despondency. And we don't want that.
Right.
We don't want to sink to the place where something untoward will happen or that will implode. So the revolutionary change, we come, we say, look at us. We are coming to give you hope. We want a revolutionary mindset change. You know, we want people to believe in themselves and have the audacity that is required to make that enormous leap of faith and give it to an independent candidate.
Okay.
So we are here to really get on the ground and give people the hope that they need with an alternative.
So essentially what you're saying is that you mean business. You're not here to joke at all.
We are very serious because it's the future of this country that we are fighting for. And that's not child's play.
Absolutely.
And we don't believe that it's going to be a walk in the park
Right.
to take power from the NDC or the MPP. They are going to, this may be the time that they will try and collude, so that we don't come up. So our opponents are the duopoly, and I believe that Ghanaians are on our side.
All right. Well, we wish you guys the best of luck, and it'll be interesting to pick Mr. Alex Percival Segbafia's thoughts on this. I'm sure he's also been following the activities of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. In fact, he was saying something very interesting off air. I don't know whether he would want to say it on air, but a good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure having you, sir.
Good morning to you, Moro. Good morning to my dear sister. Long time no see.
Yes.
And good morning to our cherished viewers and listeners.
Right.
I said that my sister made a comment that both parties don't show any love for the country.
Right.
I think that statement is correct as far as MPP is concerned. I think that the NDC has demonstrated real love for the people of Ghana, and the movement for change, the expanded version, that is the revolutionary
change.
Must first
sounds more like the antecedents of the NDC, doesn't it?
Must first learn to love themselves, and then once they do that, then they are now in a better position to do. But we welcome any democratic move of this nature. It's good for our democracy. It opens up the democratic space.
Right.
As to whether the country is ready to move away from a
duopoly.
Exactly.
That's $1 million question.
I'm not sure that the time is right. I think that they will have an impact on the elections, especially since they are focusing on only one level, which is the presidential. And the impact for me is that it will affect the MPP's fortunes.
How do you mean?
Well,
they're looking for Ghanaians living everywhere where the NDC
is
NPP.
die in the wool from the MPP stock.
Absolutely, that's true.
It comes from their stronghold.
Right.
So, yes, they'll make an impact, but I believe the impact will be more felt by the MPP than the NDC, even though we don't underestimate.
Right.
We still have to run the election as a party that is ensuring that we get the 50% plus one.
Right.
I think that the movement for change guarantees that the MPP cannot do so. At best, they can hope for some runoff. At best.
Right.
They can't go beyond the 50%. I'm clear in my mind about that. But knowing that Ghanaians don't like to, for want of a better phrase, let their votes go, we are thinking that we are doing enough to convince Ghanaians that the only viable alternative, without creating any problems for us as a country, to vote for the NDC.
I see.
So that we are not taking anything for granted. We welcome competition, as I've said, or for that matter, the democratic space being enhanced, and so we wish them well.
We
want them to come home.
Right. That's instructive.
Once they've put the name revolution in it.
But here's the thing. In your strategy formulation and planning. Do you factor these developments in it? Do you say, well, guys, let's not rule these guys out entirely? So let's do A, B, C, D.
You have to take them into account.
Right.
I mean, like I said, the people involved are not novices in the political space or area. My sister is across from me.
Right.
So they will try very hard to make an impact. And so you don't write them off. Definitely not. You might feel that the NDC is in a very strong position. However, there may even come the time when we may have to sit down and talk as to how the political parties should behave. Because the truth is that we all have a common enemy.
Right.
And that is the MPP for now. They have the power, so they stand on their own.
Right.
And we all think that they should be removed from office. The methodology is what differs. We believe that the NDC is the party that should go, and they believe that they have a group of people who think that they should change. And they are not even, their position is that we are not even concentrating on the parliamentary.
Right.
We just want to change the leader.
That's not the case. We are going to encourage as many people as possible
to go independent.
To go independent.
Yes.
Well, in fact, we've already seen that play out in Ejiso.
I don't have a problem.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that if your approach is you're going to go for an independent candidate or back independent candidates, of itself, it means that you are changing the complete dynamics of our politics, where you're going to have a situation, and it's not wrong, but the person is not going to be, no group is in charge of the person. The idea, the first word of that position makes it very clear, which is independent. Once you put the word independent into it, then it becomes clear that you're looking at people who have a certain posture or position. Okay. So I'm not downplaying their efforts or their support of independent candidates. In the same way you have an independent presidential candidate, not backed by a political party.
Absolutely.
And so that is novel and new, and that's one of the reasons we will not overlook their presence.
All right.
But I do not believe that they have what it takes to make a fundamental difference in the fortunes of any of the political parties. The best they can hope for is to push for a runoff.
Okay.
And that is why they then can become very relevant if that happens.
Okay.
For the simple reason that both political parties, if they are now into a runoff, will have to start considering how to talk to them and see which side they are going to go in that 7 or 8 days window and see where their fortunes go. That's the best for me they can hope for.
Okay.
But I clear in my mind that the NDC will win this outright one-off.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, we're we're just about to digress a little bit. We don't want to, because we have two very important conversations to have, and I've told you we've already advertised them, but we'll make time to have a conversation about the concept of a third force and why Ghanaians, despite all the complaints about they've been disappointed in the political class, somehow have a difficulty trying a third force. And that's a whole conversation we're going to have. And I'll be very happy that we have the set we currently have to have a conversation about this, because it's important that we look at it, because that's where the Alliance for Revolutionary Change are coming from, and the belief that they have what it takes to change the mindsets of Ghanaians, for Ghanaians to try a third force. So we'll see how that pans out. So my resource person, as I indicated, is Susan Edomankwa, who is a key member of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. And joining us in the studio is a man whom I have a lot of respect for as well. That's the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. And that's the Honourable Andy Appiah Kubi, who's taking time off his very busy schedule to join us as well. He's a man whom, if you talk to some of the MPP, so they'll tell you, as for this man, he speaks his mind too much. We have issues with that. Charlie, why? What is that? We are all supposed to be one political party. One, you always want to be honest. You always want to be honest. What is that? So, but he doesn't have any regrets about that. He thinks that, look, here's his MPP, but it's also Ghana first. It's extremely important because he wants to bequeath a country that he'll be proud of to his kings and kings, and there's generations to come, and that's what he's always believed in. Honorable, it's always a pleasure having you.
Oh, thank you
very much.
For those kind words, I very much appreciate it.
Right. I wouldn't want to drag you into the conversation we're having it because I know you'd want to have a bite at it, but then I'm also looking at the time because we have others on the line as well. It's the Albert Ein.
If you give me 1 minute.
Just 1 minute, that's fine.
To talk about the
Alliance for Revolutionary Change.
Well, very much so. Thank you. And
Sure.
A very good morning to my cherished business and my colleagues around the table.
Yeah.
It saddens my heart that we are not accommodating as members of a political party for us to break away. We've seen it before during the President Rawlings's time. Some people broke away from the party mainstream, formed another party. They tried, affected the fortunes of the party. And going into 2020, I'm sure that the sentiments of 1996 still prevailed and, somehow aided MPP against the NDC. This time around, it is a key member of the MPP that has broken away, seeking to form another party alternative. And I am very sure that has the potential to affect the fortunes of NPP. That one is. But I'm also very disappointed that our system has not been able to reconcile our interests and bring people who are seeking to break away back into the political fold. I'm positive that it is still not too late for us to pursue the path of reconciliation, bring people back home. Indeed, if we allow this to happen, it will be the first failure of my tradition, the NPP. Okay. I mean, where are the negotiators of the party who stood up for what was right at the time and made sure that we all came back, even though we had differences? Right. So for now, it doesn't please me at all that the third force is actually a segment of our mainstream NPP party. Right. And that is a fact. Don't take it away from anybody. The beneficiaries of this third force movement will be, unfortunately, my colleagues from the other side, NDC. So it means that we must work hard. Right. It is not too late. Honorable Alan Chematin has been a strong pillar of NPP. I mean, no doubt about that. And he has performed. He has been a member of the government. He has performed. He has been a member of the previous government, Kufuor's government. He performed. And therefore, based on his performance and pedigree at all, we don't have to lose this soul of a political party jam. And I want to also encourage the party leadership to continue whatever it is that will take for us to bring our brothers back home. Let's do it. On a personal note, I am talking to some of my colleagues who are minded to go to join the new force, that home is home. Let's all consider that. Indeed, it must be a national effort. Whatever it takes for us to bring our brothers home, let's do it. And I very much support it. Notwithstanding the fact that they also have considerations that bother them. Let's listen to them. Let's see where we can build bridges. In fact, give and take is the nature of negotiation. And therefore, it cannot be that here we are, we take this position, and we are not prepared to budge. Let's listen to them and ensure that at least win-win. Everybody is happy. We have a situation where we have reconciled our interests, we have reconciled our thinking, and we have reconciled our results. Right. It's important. Right. If we fail, well, the results will affect us somehow. Right. And let us not leave one vote out. Okay. Because the events of 2008 is there for us all to know that 34,000 votes cost us the government. Right. And therefore, we cannot be comfortable when we are talking of numbers. However meager we think they are still important to us. Okay. And therefore, let's find the people who can negotiate between the two interests and reconcile them and bring them into one interest. Okay. It is very important. Right. Where did the party go wrong? Where we cannot even agree to disagree in an effort to come to a conclusion of agreement. Okay. It is important. We cannot leave this concept out of our thinking. All right. Thank you.
What it means is that you belong to the school of thought that does not believe that the ship has already sailed and it's a hopeless situation. You can't do anything about it. You believe that something can be done about it.
When the ship, when the ship is even in deep sea, there's always a possibility of a detour.
All right. So let's do this. Right. So the NDC held a news conference in the course of the week and was raised some very, very pertinent issues about some machines that have gone missing. And I'm using machines here because the Electoral Commission say, well, they're just laptops. But even if they're BVDs, there were some of them, a couple of them that got missing somewhere in the northern region, but not the ones from the office of the Electoral Commission as in here in Accra. But the NDC is raising very, very legitimate issues about 35 questions or so, but key amongst those issues. And I'm here, Mr. Alex Sebefia is here. He's going to raising those issues here. But really and truly, we've had the Electoral Commission say time and again that these machines that are missing are inconsequential. They will have no bearing, absolutely, on the elections. So, why are you complaining? You don't have any basis to have any concerns. You don't have any basis to have any worries. How do you respond to this?
Thank you very much. I think that your question is a valid question. If you have 100 mangoes and 2 go missing,
yes,
so you still have 98. So what is your problem?
Absolutely.
So why, when I ask you about your 2 mangoes, you don't tell us that they are missing?
Okay.
If you don't tell us that the 2 are missing, and you are running away from the fact that 2 are missing, there's something important about the 2 missing mangoes.
There's 98 to play with.
No, but you need all the 100 to play.
Okay, true. But that's true.
You need all the 100 to play.
Right.
You cannot work with the 98. So where are those 2? And this is just basic.
Absolutely.
The truth of the matter is that there's a history, and that informs how you must behave. We have never been satisfied with the way the Electoral Commission as a body has.
I will beg of you, whilst that, because I'm told that I'm not going to interview him now, but let's just acknowledge that he's joined us.
Okay.
Mr. Albert Ahin is the national coordinator of CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. Mr. Albert Ahin, good morning. Thank you very much for accepting to join us.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Albert Ahin.
Thank you.
Right.
And so, my regards to your panelists and then your listeners.
Fantastic. And I'm happy that you're in there, you're listening to the conversation so that you can put all of this in perspective for us.
Okay. Thank
you. Thank you so very much. Sir, please go ahead.
There's a historical background to this issue. A mistrust. Most opposition parties have mistrust for the Electoral Commission from time immemorial. It has been heightened this time round from 2016 right into after the elections of 2016 into the elections of 2020. And it started with the removal of the EC chair, the issues of new register, no register, NDC even stopped IPAC, we are back now, etc. So there's that historical context. We felt we were battered and bruised in the 2020 elections. We are still not convinced about the figures, but the court ruled that we hadn't gotten to the stage to even ask about figures.
So you respect it, but you disagree?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is fine. Our democracy must continue. Then you have the president at the inauguration of his flag bearer saying that his whole focus is to ensure that he hands over power to his successor as flag bearer, namely Nana Mahmoud. We are not pleased.
He's called Alaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, not Nana Bawumia.
Sorry, I apologize. I should even say His Excellency, his Vice President.
He will welcome all those titles.
All right.
Let them flow.
Then you have your Minister of Agriculture saying that even if another party wins elections, we are not handing over. So you have to situate it in that context first as to the kind of mistrust that exists and the kind of utterances from people in government. Then you place that in the fact that when the things go missing and it is brought to your attention by no lesser a body than Parliament, you deny. You say it's not true. They are not missing. Only to come and tell us that they are missing, and more is missing than you said was you denied in the first place, because you have two. You have the BVRs, which is made up of equipment and a laptop,
right?
The biometric verification equipment, right. And then you have the BVDs. Now, BVDs are missing, and the laptops for the BVRs are also missing.
5 of them.
Yes. And they store and can be used with the right equipment to register people.
Right.
With the kind of hackers you have today and the things we are aware have happened, equipment of that nature in the wrong hands is dire. And we do not know how long they have been missing, whether they have been found, who has done what exactly with these equipment.
The Electoral Commission says it's been missing a month and like a week ago. Or you have contrary information?
Well, who was it reported to? They say the police. People have been arrested.
It's a national security.
So they should come out with a full report on the issue.
You want to see the CCTV recording footage?
We've asked 35 questions. They should just answer them. It's not an issue.
Okay.
Just answer. We've asked. If they feel they've answered, don't answer them piecemeal.
Right.
We've asked the 35. Just bring the answers to the 35. Because it does not help our democracy. These are equipment, and that's why we've asked for a complete independent investigation. We don't want any whitewash clearance of people. We want it to be properly investigated.
By who? Because there's mistrust even amongst the police.
By an independent group.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Right.
They should come. Why?
Okay.
It's an investigation. It can be done. In the past, the MPP itself has asked for an audit.
Yes, in 2012.
So
when Jacob Lamte was
so we've asked for yes, and it was done.
It was done, yes.
So we want an audit of the register.
Yes.
We are not asking for anything that hasn't been asked for before.
Okay.
So we want that also to take place, because at the end of the day, whatever the investigation, we want to know what our registers are and whether they are safe as it is. Because if there hadn't been a denial from the onset, in fact, there shouldn't have been a question from Parliament. It should have been something that should have been brought up front immediately by the EC once they were aware that, which is one of the questions, when did you get to know that they were missing? So all these issues, and I don't want to reiterate the 35 questions, they are there, people know them.
Right.
It was done by our General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Kwete. Yeah. And they are there, and they are genuine, legitimate questions. Right. People are saying, oh, this is just what's it called? A storm in the teacup, etc. No.
Red herring.
We know that people have been registered outside registration centers during registration processes.
True.
So if somebody is able to get the right equipment, who has the codes?
The IT department.
Yes, because commission. So how secure are these codes as we speak? Are they given to all the people who go to the agents so that when they log into the machine, it goes back? So each station has got its own IT, login. So if you compromise 1 or 2 people and you already have a machine with people on it, can that now feed into the mainframe? There are many, many questions. And when you have the history which I've outlined, where somebody is saying that at all costs we are going to win, and somebody is saying that even if somebody else wins there, we won't hand over power. Please, just answer the questions. Let's do the audits, and let us all go into the election with a clear mind that we are satisfied. And we hope that in the next few days and weeks, a lot more will be revealed in this matter.
Let me come to Mr. Albert Ahin, because this question, you're not asking the New Patriotic Party, neither are you asking the Alliance for revolutionary movement about these questions, but they are more targeted and tailored towards the Electoral Commission. We did everything possible to get the Electoral Commission. We've not been successful, but the good thing is that Mr. Albert Ayin has worked there as Director of Elections for many years, and he's now the National Coordinator of CODEO. He knows about the workings of the Electoral Commission, so he should be able to help us with these things. But Mr. Albert Ayin, thank you very much once again for joining us on Inside Pages. Do you find the questions or the concerns that have been raised by the NDC legitimate?
Yes, thank you very much. They are legitimate in the sense that they have some doubts. And if you have a doubt, definitely you would need to have answers to your doubts. Fortunately, I was at the IPAC the other day when these questions were raised. Unfortunately, the EC itself didn't come out to talk about the mission, the BVDs, BVRs, and then the computers. Maybe at the right time, I would say so. According to the NDC, they had an intel. The intel, informed them about these missing things, and then it was raised at Parliament, and so forth and so on. What transpired at the IPAC was that the EC is saying emphatically that the missing computers and the BVDs will have nothing to do with whatever registration they are going to do. And that nothing sinister or any ulterior motive should be attributed to it. The NDC is not happy about the fact that this was not made known in the first place by the EC itself. So the question now is, how are we going to be satisfied that the coming registration exercise is not going to be something that is fishy or is going to have something to do with some malfeasance of a sort? I believe that the way it is going now, the best thing to do is to set up some kind of an investigative body. This could be done by the Peace Council with the two ITs from the NDC and the NPP, the EC, having their IT gurus to be around. And, it's for the investigative body that will be set up to find out how, for example, these machines can be used to cause any havoc to the process, whether it's election or maybe registration. And the onus will lie on these investigative body that will be set up to really come out with answers to the questions that the NDC is posing. You see, fortunately for us, we have records of the last registration. They have the numbers there. And again, whenever registration is done, you remember anytime it closes for the day, for example, these checks are made. 10 people were registered today. How many were challenged, this and that. All records are there. They come out, they give parties copies of these things. So now what we need to prove is that since the computers were taken, what has been done to them? The BVDs or whatever it is, are they being prepared for what is coming? So the IT people will have to really go into it, examine these machines properly, and see whether they have started working on them. According to the EC, you even need a code to access these things. If you don't have a code provided by the EC itself, you will not be able to operate the machines. It's a package that they have. So, to cut a long story short, maybe what we need to do is to expedite action on setting up a committee to go into whether the machines that have been stolen can be used to cause any havoc, or if they have started using it to cause any havoc. I think this will settle everything so that we, the citizenry, the NDC and all the other parties will be satisfied that they are going to something that is going to be clean, transparent for everybody. That is it. That is the way I'm seeing it.
I have 3 questions for you before you take leave of us, Mr. Albert Ahin, because you were in the middle of something when we called you. Now, secondly, so the first question I asked was whether the concerns are legitimate, but the second question for me is, based on your knowledge of the workings of the Electoral Commission, should the Electoral Commission have informed the political parties through the framework of IPAC, even before the minority picked up the intelligence, held a news conference, and broke the news? And then we got the Electoral Commission coming out to say that, well, the BVRs the BVDs are not missing. The BVRs are the components of the BVR, because it has the camera, it has the printing machine, and then it has some other thing. And they said, it's just the laptops that are missing. And then later, I'm told in IPAC, they said, well, some BVDs are also missing, but they are not there. But those ones were not stolen from the office of the Electoral Commission, and that happened somewhere outside, I think somewhere in the western region or so, or somewhere in the northern region. Do you think that the NDC's claim or worry that the EC failed to inform them about the missing machines, but rather chose to, inform the national security about it? Is that something that is the NDC right in blaming the Electoral Commission for not doing that?
Yes, I think the NDC is right.
You mean the NDC? Sorry.
It's right. The NDC is right in raising these questions because, of course, these machines are going to be used to register people, and they are an interested party, so they should be concerned about it. You see, I have a feeling that the EC itself may not even have realized that maybe these machines were even missing until that intel came out. I'm told they were, people who were working on these machines, preparing them for the registration exercise, who did this kind of thing. You see, so honestly, the best thing should have been the EC informing IPAC about what had happened. That we have arrested some people who have stolen some machines from the EC, because these machines are going to be used for exercises, and the exercises concern the parties, concern everybody. So I think the EC faltered in a way by not giving the right information at the right time. You see, but I remember very well they were seriously insisting that nothing untoward will happen because the machines cannot be used for anything. Well, you can decide to believe it or not. What is going to happen is that there has to be a thorough investigation, because the boys have been arrested, the machines have been retrieved. I understand that maybe 1 or 2 have not been taken yet. But these machines will have to be examined. IT specialists will have to come in to look at whatever has been done with the machines since they were taken away. And then after that, we can reconcile that with all the information that we have on the previous registration and whatever. And then come out to say whether we need to fear or we don't need to worry about it because it was just a mere theft or whatever it is. But definitely, questions will have to be answered and solutions will have to be found to these answers. So this is the way I look at it.
Mr. Ahin, you've been a director of elections for the Electoral Commission for many years. We used to interview you back in the day when I was at City FM. You knew your job, you knew your onions. Can any political party go to sleep and say that, well, the Electoral Commission says nobody can use these machines without a code? And so really, what's your wahala? Is that the case?
Yes, so far as I'm concerned, and with the knowledge that I have about elections, and especially with the transparent nature of the things that the EC does. Let's take the registration exercise, for example. Mm-hmm. You go to the center, the setup is there, you see everything. They tell you this is used for this is used for that, and so forth and so on. And the joy is that at the end of the day, when the exercise is completed, the machine will print or there will be a printout of those who have been registered for the day. And this is shared to all the parties. What was done yesterday will be shown to you. What they did by way of registration will also be shown to you. And one thing that is very interesting is that in this country, you have the parties being so concerned about these things that they even themselves write the names of the people who come to register. So apart from the fact that the EC itself provides them with a copy of the people who registered for the day, the parties themselves laboriously go to the extent of recording it themselves. So and they compare it at the end of the day. You see, so let me tell you that at the end of the day when the registration is done, the parties have a register in this country. They have a register. A register that even, you can sit down and compare it with that of the EC. So they take their time to do this for reconciliation purposes. You see, so I find it difficult. I don't know how somebody can be hiding somewhere to register or whatever. If you go to sit somewhere to register, it will not be in the database of the EC. And that is why maybe there will be the need for us as a nation to go into this matter and find out how possible somebody can take a BVD, somebody can take a computer and maybe register people somewhere and put it into the machine or the database of the EC without the knowledge of the parties. You see, so the transparency with regards to registration, with regards to elections, is such that the parties, the citizenry, are always carried along. They are always part of the process. So it is really difficult for anybody to do anything onto it. That is the view I want to express.
Okay. When you look at the security setup of the Electoral Commission, look, Jean Mensah, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, has got police, military people following everywhere. Again, the Electoral Commission has a new head office. You look at the state-of-the-art building, facility that's there. If I said that I'm wondering how these machines can get missing, would that be a legitimate ask?
I wouldn't say so, because human beings, we are different. Let me tell you a story. Sometime back, way back, I think many years back, when we joined the commission, we were working. There was one day an old engine of a Mercedes-Benz that was stolen, and some of us were wondering how somebody could pick the engine from the car and be able to go through the security and send this away. But it happened. Human beings, you can have mischievous people, you can have people who are, they team up with the security and they can do whatever they want to do. So I think that for computers, these BVDs to be stolen is nothing that should be strange, or surprising to us, because we are human beings. And whenever you have people coming together at a place, theft normally would occur. And it's not the EC alone that has recorded this. It has been happening. You see, it's very unfortunate, but these things do occur. The question now is whether this theft is going to be followed up with something that is going to damage our democratic principles or whatever it is. That is, I think, what we have to find out. But as to the stealing, the theft, it can occur in any establishment. It's very unfortunate that it happened that way. But that is not the first time that maybe the EC had something missing. Okay? So it is normal.
My penultimate question, the NDC is asking for the CCTV footage of what happened on that day. of a certain period. Say maybe if the Electoral Commission is saying this was stolen a month ago, so can we have a CCTV footage of what happened, say, in the month of March? That's one. Two, the Electoral Commission has also had cause to explain that there were some BVD machines that were destroyed. I think somewhere in the western region, Takwa or so. And the NDC is asking that can we have the serial numbers of these machines that the Electoral Commission claims has been demolished by some rascals. Again, are they legitimate demands?
Definitely, they are legitimate questions. If you are saying that some BVDs have been destroyed, in the first place, you might even be called to sometimes even show the physical, thing. And the serial numbers, they are legitimate questions that can be asked. And I think if they should ask those questions, they are right in asking them.
Okay.
Yeah, they are right in asking those questions.
All right.
Because that is going to prove beyond reasonable doubt that I don't have anything to hide. These are the machines that were stolen. If they had been destroyed, no, they should be shown. So it's a right decision to do that.
How about the debris of the destroyed machines? Should that also be presented to the NDC because they're asking for it?
Yes, if they are there, they should be. If, for example, they were set on fire, definitely, I'm sure maybe they even took pictures of them. The people who came there, the CID, the investigators maybe who came there may have taken evidence. And these things should all be brought to book.
Okay.
And shown as evidence. It's just like somebody going to kill and then they burn the person and the CID comes, they take pictures of all these things and they will have to be shown in evidence to prove that this is what happened, this is what we saw.
Okay.
So I think they are right in asking those questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Albert Ahin, for your time. I'll let go of you now because you have to attend to some other urgent assignments. Thank you so very much for your time. It's always a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you too for having me.
Have a wonderful day. So now let me go to a technologist. That's the space he operates. He's a technologist. He understands how these machines work. Salom Brantier is a technologist and a vice president of Imani, who's also joined us now. Salom, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, sir. Please switch your microphone on so that we can hear you. All right, Salom will fix his microphone and then I will get back to us. Salom, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Wonderful, I can hear you, Salom.
Yes.
I can hear you. Yes. I'm sure you've been following the discussion.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Salom. It's good to have you.
Yeah.
It's good to have you. Right. So
good to have you too.
Right. So Salom, this is where we are. As you do know, the NDC chanced upon an intel that some machines have been missing at the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission initially came out to say they were just laptops, but now the Electoral Commission says, well, some BVDs are also missing, but those ones have been crashed by some unscrupulous persons and so on. But the fundamental question, for which reason we've actually called you up this morning to speak to us, is that from your knowledge of how these machines work, can any dubious character take advantage of it and surprise the political parties? And I'm talking about the BVR machines. It's a whole kit. There's a laptop, there's the, where you put the fingerprint machine, and then you also have the laptops and so on. Now the Electoral Commission tells us 5 laptops have been missing. They use those laptops, they connect them to the other kit, to the other machines so that they have the whole setup, which is called the kit. But the Electoral Commission says, look, these laptops, there's nothing in there. They are empty. You don't have anything to worry about. And so even though we've called for the National Security to investigate and arrest those who are or who may be responsible for this, but then the political parties have nothing to be worried about. Is it the case that the political parties have nothing to worry about, or they definitely have something to worry about?
So, first of all, we have to understand that no IT system is 100% secure. So it means that even in some of the most secure systems, you are going to have the chance that there will be some kind of security breaches or failure. And some of these breaches might not even be from the way the system was set up, but might be from human beings. So we have an example of a fair security breach where laptops have been stolen. Now, the issue here is that we do not know what software has been pre-installed on those laptops. And because those laptops were part of a special set of kits that were going to be used for election verification, it means that they would probably have some special software installed on it, which is proprietary and is linked to the whole election machinery. So when something like that is stolen, the first fear is whether there is data on it or not. As much as the EC could assure us that there was no data on it, it could also be that whoever stole those laptops would have an ulterior motive where they stole it at a time when the information that was required or the information that needed to be deleted had not been deleted, because as far as we know, we do not even know the exact time that the laptops were stolen, which means that because we don't know the exact time that the laptops were stolen, there could be every possibility that all the most sensitive data was not wiped out, hence necessitating the stealing of the laptops, so that whoever was involved in this nefarious activity would have access to certain special privileged information that could be used in some way or the other to compromise the elections. That is one. Now, secondly, the claim that the BVR kit is standalone and therefore cannot work on its own, or that when you take the laptop, nothing will happen, is also a shaky point, because we do not know who stole the laptops. We also know that the peripherals, so what we call peripherals are all the things that are used together with the laptop, like the scanner, like the other things that you plug in. These are known, or the specifications are known. All it takes is somebody to know the exact specifications, order those equipments, and if there is still live information on the laptops, be able to connect some of those to even sort of either update data, mimic the whole process, or add on something that we might not know about. What might save us is the fact that the EC is claiming, there could be some codes that are required or that are changed from time to time that prevent access into any main system. But you see, if somebody inside the system stole those laptops, because it will be very difficult for an outsider to come and steal these laptops as it is. And we all know that it is a theft. It is not that they were broken or damaged. We are talking about a theft situation here. So if it is a theft situation, what shows that whoever is inside cannot have access to any of the critical activation codes or anything like that, in order that they can then use that information, get into some database, and then alter certain kinds of information. Because like we are saying, or like we are all speculating, and it's a matter of speculation at this moment, we do not know who has stolen them. And the fact that it was stolen from inside a place that was supposed to be so secure means that there is a lot to worry about, because some data could be compromised. If it was just probably one or two, and maybe they could be tracked down easily, that's a different thing. We are talking about multiple sets, which means that it gives whoever it is ample time to actually take their time and reverse engineer the system, probably even look at what softwares exist, and then use that to try and even access the main systems that the EC has.
Wow. Sorry, sir, one of my panelists wants to ask you a question, sir.
Salam, congratulations for your insightful information you've given this morning. I want to believe that you were once a student of the University of Ghana. I want to believe that. Yes, Salam.
Yeah, I actually did my MBA at University of Ghana.
Sure. You see, so I couldn't be wrong. Salam, just one question for you. Is it the case that the codes are developed too close to call or earlier on before the elections? How soon are the codes developed and distributed or shared with end users? Do you develop the codes as close as possible to point of use, or before for the time frame management to become important?
Usually for operations like this, because of the level of sensitivity involved and the critical nature of it, they would normally want to deploy their codes really very close to the time of elections, which means that you probably have maybe a 12-hour window, a 24-hour window. But I'm sure that before that, they will probably do some kind of simulations, or what we call in normal language dress rehearsals, which will then try to see if all the systems are working. Because in a situation like this, you don't want a disaster situation where on the D-Day, nothing works. So there would be some simulations. They probably would use what we call dummy data, which might not be original data, just to run some of these simulations. These are how some of these large operations are done. And then they will do everything to make sure that everything is ready for the D-Day. And the thing is that they have done this multiple times before. So it means that it's not going to be a first-time deployment. However, we are talking in this case about a security breach where we have not even tracked or traced those who have perpetrated the situation or initiated the situation, which means that they're in the chain of custody of those who are supposed to sign off the receipt of the machines, those who are supposed to sign off the receipt of the peripherals, that is the small devices and the scanners, etc. There is a break in that chain or a leakage in that chain. And because we do not know the level or the level of the hierarchy in which this has happened, then that is where there is a cause to worry, because then it is very clearly the fact that some human element in this whole chain is compromised. And that human element that is compromised, we do not know the motivations of whoever it is, whether the person is working on behalf of the of one party or on the other, to be able to interfere some way somehow in the process as it is.
I'm very encouraged this morning that you took your lessons under Mr. Boy very seriously in the same school that I was, the MIS class. I'm very encouraged, and you're giving us the information as I expected. You understand, my brother? Congratulations.
Yeah. All right. So, Salam, just briefly, just 1 second. Do you agree with the NDC that this matter and the way it has played out will require an independent probe or independent investigation to unravel the circumstances under which this happened, and also the machines would have to be audited so that all the political parties are on the same page?
Absolutely. You see, when a situation like this happens, especially with such a sensitive matter, and in a year where the elections are particularly high stakes, as we have this year, because of the underlying governance issues that exist in Ghana today, the EC has, or the onus lies on the EC to ensure that it has the confidence of the general public or the electorate. It also has to ensure that it has the confidence of all the political parties, because the ramifications of any, any consensus that there are irregularities going to happen because of security breaches, the ramifications are very huge. It could lead to some kinds of tensions that could escalate into something else. So it is absolutely important that the EC find a reliable, credible, arbiter to ensure that in running the audits that they are doing, they will be not only find out where these things are or the status of these things, but also whether the whole system in itself is secure, and also give recommendations on what will be the best way to ensure that there is enough rigor to assuage any concerns of the general public. And it is very important because that audit would also help us know what to do the next time we have some of these issues coming up. Because once this has been done now, it's always is that something like that can be done again. And therefore, it is very important that that audit be done, and it has to be done speedily, and it has to be done with expeditiously to ensure that we get the necessary information that we need to have to relay to allay any fears of the public.
Salom, thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking to you, so have a good day. All right, that's Salom Abrante.
Have a good day too.
All right, that's Salom Abrante. He's a technologist, he's a policy analyst, and also a vice president of Imani Africa. Honorable.
You see, when I see my mates in school performing like that,
it makes you proud.
It makes me proud.
Right.
He was with me in business school.
Okay.
So I know his pedigree.
Right.
And again, it depends on the vigilance that we apply to whatever we are doing in elections. Indeed, I was happy that the EC person, the person you interviewed before, gave indication that the kind of infractions that we're talking about has occurred in the past. It does. No human institution is perfect.
Sure.
And indeed, in IT, much as we attempt to build a consolidated platform, the next IT person is also seeking how I can penetrate and get your platform also infected.
True.
So the two minds work together all the time. So we should not expect people to sit down and expect somebody to take grace in an IT space and say that I invented this and it has worked to perfection. Okay. It doesn't happen.
Right.
So it is always the case that somebody is trying.
Right.
But the bottom line is that, in fact, the antidote to all these things is vigilance.
Right.
Vigilance. Indeed, I'll bring my own example.
Before you come in with your own example, I beg you, let's do this quickly. We need to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Inside Pages. In case you have just joined us, we want to find out whether missing BVD, BVR kits are, who stole them, why they stole them, and whether an independent investigations into this theft or the missing items is in order. We've been talking to Mr. Salom Abrante of Imani Africa and also Mr. Albert Ahin of Kodeo, who have shared their perspective on this matter. They're saying they agree with the NDC 100% on all the issues they have asked. Mr. Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi, who's a member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North, is also here. To some extent, he thinks that there are issues there, but just has a bit of a, just small difference in there. But yes, in principle, he agrees that yes, there's got to be, we need to get to the bottom of this. But it's quite interesting though, because the frontline MPP communicators have sort of been a bit, have really not shown that much interest in this matter. And of course, I've heard Dr. Mani Buama, who's the Director of Elections of the NDC, actually say that he's wondering why the MPP is not showing as much interest as they should, because this is about the integrity of elections. And yeah, the NPP has been cold as far as this matter is concerned. But then Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi, I'm not seeing that kind of posture from him. Anyway, so you're saying that you have a personal story.
Yes, I have a personal story to share with you.
Right.
And indeed, before I do that, let us also not be informed that even after the audit by whoever, be it independent institution or the investigative institutions of the country,
Peace Council,
let us not still go to sleep.
Okay.
Because even after the audit, it is a system, an MIS.
Right.
You have to follow it to the end of it. Mm-hmm. Because even after the audit, anything can happen. Because in IT, as much as one is very innovative, the next person is also being very unduly innovative to be able to punch holes and counter. So in IT, you don't go to sleep. So the call for investigation is apt, but even after the investigation, if you go to sleep, a lot more can happen even after the audit. And I'm putting my own personal experience to bear with you, and it is that as we speak now, I have a database of the previous results in my constituency, and it is there as my base information.
I see.
When we go through the registration, I will update it with practical information on the ground, and I'm building my own information base.
Right.
And when we do the verification and thereafter, the challenge, those who are going to be challenged during the registration, I will also have a page for them.
Okay.
And I will personally be present during the vetting of those who have been challenged. And I will be an amicus in the matter, looking at the law and explaining the law to them, even as we investigate them and we find who is qualified or otherwise.
All right.
So when, after all this, the refined data is ready, I'll input into my system. And that I will know who is qualified to vote in my constituency or otherwise. And even that will not be the end of it. On the election day, make sure that we have people qualified, interested, and capable to represent you, because you cannot be at all the places. So that whatever happens there is subject to that person's scrutiny. And therefore, what comes out is authentic information in respect of your electoral fortunes. So you do all this, you go to sleep on the day, anything can happen.
Vigilance.
Okay. And in any case, the information that the EC puts up is not as important as the reconciliation you do with your own information with that which EC has put up.
Right.
So if EC puts up information on the electoral register and you take it hook and sinker, you want to use it, you can even challenge it if you have credible information from your own IT department and challenge it, and then you can reconcile. It is after the reconciliation that you take it as verifiable information on the ground.
That's true.
Then, when you have done that, you have not finished. Make sure that it is that information that is replicated in the voting. Because that information can be different, and the voting results can also be different. So make sure that you are also reconciling the voting information with the data as proven and as authenticated. Then you know that this result is genuine. And if you have lost, you lose gallantly. If you win handsomely. You see, so all this is about my fear and my worry is that nobody appears to be in trust for or trusting our institutions of state. And that is worrying. Everybody appears to say that let it be independent. So why did we create those institutions to do the things that we expect independent institutions to do for us?
That's a legitimate
Have
concern.
we lost confidence all of a sudden in our own state institutions? And in any case, this matter is not NDC MPP. I don't want us to bring partisan interest in this matter. It is a system that's supposed to generate results that will create next institutions for us, parliament, presidency, and the like. So let us not bring partisanship into it in the determination of the results to be relied on. But again, the call for verification is important. The call for vigilance is equally important. The call for consolidation is also important. Again, state institutions must be made empowered to perform its critical roles. Otherwise, all of us will be challenging ourselves.
That's true.
Unjustifiably.
So
let us all be vigilant. Let us all also look at the state, Ghana, as one enterprise that all of us belong.
0249-155-646, 0249-155-646. Some of your messages are coming in thick and fast. I'll be reading them shortly, but I just remember that I'd advertised just one, so I'll do it again. 0249-155-646. This is Inside Pages. Susan, I don't know
but before let's one main point. Indeed, the publication of the findings of the Electoral Commission, I don't think it was necessary. Because particularly in IT, when you want to undertake investigations, you don't sound the warning, you don't ring the alarm bells, because it's all an operation of the mind and the reconfiguration of systems. So once you sound the warning, chances are that you are going to put those people on alert. The same people you are going to investigate, they become, informed that investigation is going to take place. So the report to the police or the investigative body was apt, but I don't think that the publication thereof was necessary.
That's fine. Susan, it appears that it's only the NDC that's been fighting the Electoral Commission as far as this is concerned. I don't know whether the movement for Alliance for Revolutionary Change will want to join this, or you don't seem to be interested in it. I mean, you've been in this business for a long time. when you're in the CPP, you've been heavily involved in election management and so on. Do you think there are issues there for you? Where do you stand on this?
Oh, certainly the Alliance is concerned. The Alliance is a stakeholder in this election, and anything that affects the election, the Alliance is definitely concerned about it. The EC, unfortunately, is not above reproach. I mean, they should have been like Caesar's wife, without blemish, the way they... But we don't see that. And in an election where the stakes are high, especially with the duopoly, before the emergence of the alliance, with the duopoly that are equally matched,
be broken by the alliance.
Yes.
Oh, it will be broken by the alliance.
Inshallah.
It shall happen. But we are talking of things that happened, before the alliance, and the parties are equally matched, the duopoly. So every little, thing counts, and there's a lot of mistrust. And it's for the EC to recognize this and act accordingly. And in many situations, they have not exactly done that. And that has always raised suspicion, and it doesn't matter whether it is the NDC in power or it's the MPP in power. And what you always see, and it's Honorable Appiah Kubi is refreshing that he hasn't taken the stand that we usually see, where when there's a party in power, everything that EC does is
fine.
Is fine and it's okay. Yeah. And then they go about defending the EC as if the EC is a sibling of their party. So, I mean, it's a good thing that he's speaking the way he is, showing that we still have Ghanaians who are concerned about things. But like I was saying, the EC needs to be above reproach. They need to recognize the atmosphere in which we are, and ensure that some of these things, they are forthcoming with information. Information coming out, it must be timely. You understand? Because if it is not timely, it raises suspicion. They didn't need to wait for the NDC to come and point it out to them.
Right.
And if they actually didn't know, and the NDC had to point it out to them, that is even also a cause for worry. Because that means there's a problem with their system.
Well, they say they say they knew about it, but they didn't think it was necessary to inform the political parties.
Yeah, but
they felt that the national
how
security
do you say it is not necessary to? Because look, anybody in a quality system, you have to look at your interest.
Because obviously inconsequential.
No, it's not inconsequential. And then
empty laptops, not the idea.
But that is even more a cause for worry if the EC thinks that anything that the interested parties or the stakeholders, will have problems with, they think is inconsequential.
Yes.
It's not.
Because
they are misjudging the whole thing. And that is worrisome. That the EC would misjudge the kind of atmosphere in which they are conducting an election. And think that something, if it's inconsequential, come and say it, and let the parties decide that it's inconsequential. You don't sit there and decide. If you put out information there and the information is timely, let them decide and sit on the information and say, okay, this information is inconsequential.
Right.
Put everything out. Err on the side of caution.
Right.
And don't decide to say that this is inconsequential. Because we are looking at it like, you said the laptops are empty. They don't even know when the laptops got missing.
Yes.
They can't pinpoint an exact time when those laptops got missing.
Yeah.
So we don't know whether the information that was on their initial and it has been wiped off. You understand? So if you say the laptops are empty, what proof? We cannot believe them without evidence.
True.
For them to show, they need to have the evidence to show that those laptops were empty.
Right.
We cannot take their word for it. And nobody takes somebody's word for it without evidence.
True.
You say it and then you back it with evidence.
Right.
And so that's what we want to
Okay.
see. And the issue is, these days, hackers are born every minute. I mean, you put in a code. Before the code is out, somebody has put in something to hack into the code. So when you have a laptop missing, and then at some point in time you have the DVD machines, BVD machines
BVR.
missing. You understand?
The BVD and the BVR.
The devices are missing. And people feel that they are part of a system. The two different are part of a system. The laptop and the BVD machine. They are part of a system. And if they can be put together by a clever person, and
we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. So you cannot say that is inconsequential. And that you can write it off. I know. Initially, of course, Mr. Ahin was saying that it will be very difficult. But I'm happy that he didn't say it's impossible.
True.
Because it is very possible that can happen. And so we shouldn't, say that.
You remember I asked him a question when they prepared the codes.
Yes.
It is very critical.
But he said that the codes are prepared at least very close to
the
election. And 12 hours to the election.
That's right.
But who says that?
The question that arises is it possible for somebody to have access to the code even before it is released?
Is it
possible?
It is possible. Why makes that impossible?
Who stole it?
Who stole it?
Physical people that took it. Who's behind the theft?
No.
You
You are talking about the hardware. Yes. I was talking about the software and the code.
But
he's building a point to that. That's where he's coming from. He's building a point to the software.
You can have the hardware in your bosom.
Yes. Gentlemen, when you were talking, I was very quiet.
Sorry.
Can I allow you to finish?
To be fair to her. Yeah.
No, I was trying to assist her.
Assist her, okay.
No, I don't need your assistance. Thank you very much.
Please go ahead, madam.
Yes, the codes are prepared very close to time. But you don't know who stole the thing. And the software is being written by human beings.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't know that, who stole the DVDs, what was the motive behind. Okay. And you say that the codes are given even if they are given 12 hours before time, or they are given even 6 hours before time. Somebody is probably writing another code to work it out. And these days, AI is the thing. You understand? So you in the past, what do you call it? You had to go and type in, or you had to go to the library, remove this. These days, the AI is on your WhatsApp. Yes. You know, Meta has an AI.
Yes.
Meta has an AI right now.
Yes.
So the AI.
They are constantly coming to me for me to ask them a question.
Thank you.
They're always here.
You understand? So in this world, where things are changing so rapidly.
You can't take anything for granted.
Hackers are born every minute. Everything that has to do with IT is a cause for worry.
Right.
One, your system is such that somebody can get into it and steal a laptop. That's a cause for worry. That you can find that you have some of your BVD machines or BVR machines missing. That is a cause for worry.
True.
And you cannot wash that away. So I think that the 35 questions, let them answer the 35 questions. We are all interested in the answers that we are.
Are you for an independent probe?
Definitely. We definitely need an independent probe.
By who?
You definitely...
Somebody mentioned the Peace Council.
If the Peace Council can do that, and it will
be
open
say for you, NDC, MPP, a committee formed? That's
why there's an IPAC, so that they can sit down and have that discussion.
Okay.
And when the discussion is there, all the interested parties can say, this is an independent person that we believe can do an audit.
Credible
and it's
enough,
not just an audit of the machines, but of the whole system.
Okay.
Because some of us, I want to think that it's probably an inside job. There's somebody there who has this thing. Unfortunately, we are in a country where money has become a value.
True.
And everybody has a price. So somebody that you not necessarily think that can be corrupted is able to be corrupted. True. So with that kind of background, we are all very suspicious about things. And our elections are want to suspicion and very tense. Look, parties never, the duopoly, they have never stopped campaigning since they started off. Campaign is going on all the time. And because of that, we are in constant tension. And in this particular year, we are even in more constant tension, where it is not only the NDC who is thinking of breaking the 8, it is the ARC thinking of breaking the 8 and bringing in a totally different democracy. So tension and more tension. And I think that the EC needs to be more transparent, more forthcoming with information, and information should not come late. It should be timely, because if you give information and the information is too late to be acted upon, it's not helpful. So timely information, and then they should let the parties decide what is inconsequential or not. If they are open and they are transparent with all information, the parties can decide that this is inconsequential. So I think it's in everybody's right, and we to question these missing machines.
Okay. So your microphone is off. If you can put yes, please.
In different jurisdictions, the maximum sentence for theft, for example, in the UK is 10 years.
Right.
The maximum sentence for handling stolen goods is 14 years.
Right.
Because the belief is that people steal based on the market value of what they are stealing.
True.
Or steal to order.
Right.
So it's the handlers who are creating the problem and not necessarily the thief. So if something has got a demand or somebody specifically wants it, the price goes up and the thief goes and gets it. And therefore, when you want to target somebody, the person who is handling stolen goods should be your main target.
Is that the consequence of abatement is higher than that of the doer?
Exactly.
Here are now lawyers talking, and now they've gotten all of us, we're
missing,
totally missing. Yes.
So for me,
yes,
when time you see a specialized piece of equipment,
okay,
a Ferrari in somebody's house, no ordinary thief is going to go and pick up a Ferrari. Where is he going to put it?
True.
He has someone who says, bring the Ferrari and let me go and take it to this place and we'll deal with it. You are dealing with specialized equipment, BVDs. It will not just be stolen on a whim and a caprice, especially when it's under certain security.
There's demand for it.
Somebody wants it and he has a reason why he wants it. So let's not
trivialize it.
No. This is not any other laptop sitting somewhere for somebody to take it to Kukumpe or wherever, and then they dismantle it and say they are taking it. That's not what this is about.
Right.
They are specialized equipment. And that is what is raising eyebrows. That's why I say that if the EC had been smart from the day that it was raised, all they had to say is, yes,
okay,
we have alerted that some things are gone.
Okay.
But we are investigating it, so we don't want to raise the alarm. But yes, Parliament, it is true. The moment you say no, and then you come back, you have created your own problem.
All right.
But let me support this critically. The complaint was on BVDs, not BVRs.
That's true.
And that's the person who put the question in Parliament. I was there.
That's true.
Was emphasizing the loss of BVDs,
so the
which
EC
was not the case.
Yes. No, but here's the thing.
But you see,
what was actually, let's put in perspective. What was missing at the time the information came out were gadgets related to the BVRs, and that's the laptop.
That's right.
Right. So the EC came out to say, well, they're not BVDs, but they are laptops connected to the BVR, because the whole kit, including the laptop.
Including the laptop.
Now, I'm told during IPAC, the EC then came out to say, well, BVDs are also missing. But they were not missing on the same day that the BVR, the laptops got missing.
If we
but the ones that are missing, even the BVDs that are missing, were actually got missing in some other.
If we mix the issues,
listen, I know,
we will get confused.
I get that.
What the question was that do you account for the missing, the stolen BVDs?
Yes.
And the EC says that BVDs are not stolen.
Okay.
BVRs were stolen. In any case, we as an institution have lost BVDs through violent action and through the police confiscation.
Okay.
So the losing in respect of the stealing is different from the losing in respect of the vandalism.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we use the next 12 minutes to deal with Ameri? I don't know if we can do this. Can we? We can try with 12 minutes. But it's simple. Ameri is no more. When I say it's no more called Ameri. It's now called the Kumasi 1 thermal power plant. It's also now been relocated to Ashanti region.
You should have named it after me.
Yes. Oh, you mean Andy Apiakumi thermal plant? Okay, that wouldn't have been a bad idea.
That would have been beautiful.
At a cost of $35 million, the NDC says this smells very fishy. It smells fraudulent. Why change the name? In any case, you bastardize it, aren't you ashamed, and so on. Derek, should we play a video on the Ameri? Okay, we should just go straight ahead. Okay, so we're going straight ahead. But whilst you can see the videos on your screen and where these videos were taken when the machine was actually being installed somewhere in the Ashanti region. There's a particular name for it that doesn't readily come to mind. But just a quick one, Honourable. Really, what really is the issue here? I mean, this is Ghana property. We can send it anywhere and for us to work and to supply services to the people. Why is the NDC raising issues with this one too?
Well, I think that why didn't you ask that question when it first came in? Why was the MPP asking questions about Ameri?
Right.
Ameri was a bad boy.
Yes.
Ameri was no good. Ameri was a bad contract. It's so bad that you renewed it, paid more, and extended the time. So it cannot be that bad. And if it's not that bad, why change the name? So there are a myriad of issues.
They said it was a fraudulent deal.
So why renew it?
That's why there was all kinds of investigations.
Why renew it and pay more?
Okay.
And why extend the time?
But they're saying that we've already paid for it. So, we might as well just keep it.
No, you had to renew the contract. The contract has been renewed.
Okay. You should have abrogated?
Yes, walk away from it. Why? You've done your contract, you're not happy. Or renew a contract that makes it cheaper by far from what was done. Then we understand that, yes, this issue, we didn't do well. You have now done better.
Valid.
You haven't done that.
Valid. That's one.
So what's the issue? And if you have done that, why are you changing the name?
Okay, so that's one.
It's pure politics.
All right.
You understand? And it doesn't help anybody. Then why relocate? Look, you have a situation in this country where our biggest problem now is that there has not been any extra generation capacity added to what was left by the NDC.
Right.
And each year, the demand for power increases. And therefore, it behoves us to know that you must always have a certain amount in reserve. So, if you are spending 35 million to relocate, why don't you rather sit back and see what would have been the cost for a new plant as opposed to relocating? Get one that is going to come and serve that purpose. Because, why? We were all working with what is there already. It makes it easier if there is a plant specific for Ashanti region. So, let's look at it separately and get a new plant for there and then distribute the rest elsewhere. That, for me, is forward thinking. Why remove this and send it all the way for 35 million? There may be genuine answers to it. But just as a layperson looking at it, it doesn't make financial economic sense. Right. Especially since you need to increase your output of power as the years go by and the country is expanding day by day.
The fact that the sector is even bleeding financially.
So look at a new plant to deal with that. Run Ameri where it was. Let it serve all the other things we'll do. After all, for the first 4 years, there was no Doomsaw. Ameri was where it was. What was the issue? Kumasi people, now the Doomsaw is back. It's real. For the last week in Taifa, they are on 12-hour shifts. 6 to 6, more or less. Yeah. So if anybody is watching is in the Taifa area, confirm or let us know whether this is correct or not. So there is Doomsaw. There is load shedding going on. And in the from 2017 right up to 2020, we didn't have this problem. So there are real issues. And I don't know why, if the issue is about fuel, which we say it is, about ability to purchase, to run the plants, because we have almost 5,000 capacity plants with about 4,700, generating capacity in it. And we are only using 3,300 when our peak time period is 3,700. We went through this last time on this program. So there's a shortfall because these plants, ECG came out with a response that all this It's no longer about generation. It's about small areas, pockets of things that localized
faults. Yeah,
that is not what everybody is seeing.
Yeah,
it's not true. So let us start speaking truth to our people. And so, Ameri, for me, look, it's pure politics that was played. It was unnecessary, and even the movement of the plant for the cost, they should have looked at it totally differently.
Okay. Honorable.
Thank you very much.
Essentially, what the point is, the NPP has no shame.
I would have preferred that the person to lay the preamble would have been the Ministry of Energy.
Okay.
To look at the contract, look at performance, and look at post-contract performance and the like. Right. What I know is about the contracting, and this contract was build, operate, and transfer contract. And this contract has a term in terms of years. And this contract had a product, the service they're providing. And this contract had a consideration. So if you look at those things, consideration, term, and product, you will see that what I personally found faulty with the contract was that the contract was too ambitious, looking into the future beyond looking at terminal points of operation. So they will pick maybe 20 years, our energy requirement for 20 years, and use it as the product for purchase. And then you contract on consideration based on the product for purchase. Meanwhile, Ghana will need maybe half at this time, an addition of 10% in 5 years, addition of 20% in 10 years, and the like.
Okay.
So what I found faulty with the contract was the cumulative nature of the product, looking into the years for period that we didn't need and paying for what we didn't need.
Okay.
We should have graduated the payment based on the need into the time.
Okay.
Now, you look at the consideration that was paid. That is how people were crying that it was fraudulent, because in law we have something like unconscionability of contracts. So I would have thought that at the time, government also had the opportunity to go to court on unconscionability.
That's fine.
Because this is an industry player who understands the industry dynamics.
Okay.
This is Ghana, who didn't know of the industry arrangements in respect of energy generation. Right. And we went into contract and we were worse off. So unconscionability would have prevailed as the opportunity to reduce. Now,
why we
didn't do it. And this way, I don't know why we didn't go to court to bring down the figures, and I don't know what happened there. But again, going forward, this is a build, operate, and transfer contract, which has come to a 5-year term end.
Yes.
And Ghana is, within the contract, we have a right to retain the equipment.
The machine, yes.
The machine. So we have a right. We have retained the machine because we couldn't negotiate ourselves out of the original contract.
Understand that, but why rename it?
No, good. So it is now a Ghanaian product.
Okay.
It's for Ghana.
Okay.
So it is for us to decide how we use it.
Okay.
And indeed, the ministry with the responsibility and the mandate to manage it is the Ministry of Energy. Now they decide that it is important to relocate this equipment from here to there. And indeed, I understand something small in even the distribution of gas. Now, Ghana Gas is building a central location in Ashanti region to distribute to the north.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
I think it is in the same philosophy that Ministry of Energy thinks that there is a need for a central location to be able to distribute. And don't forget, distribution losses in energy sometimes is so high that you want to you want to limit the distance.
I'm enjoying this your submission. Unfortunately, time is not our best friend.
Oh, give me 1 minute. You want to limit the distance.
Okay.
Again, that is why we probably have to locate there. Now, the thing is not for Ameri again.
Yeah.
So why carry Joseph Phillips if I'm Ghanaian and I can equally carry Kwame Appiah-Kubi? And the name, I don't see anything political about the name. Kumasi something. You see, if they had put and the Appiah-Kubi Generation Center, then they could have said Adiapia could be NPP, and therefore they put in the name. So the cry is of no value.
I hear you. Susan, you can do this 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that this didn't happen overnight. Politics is a chess game. So they planned it.
Yes.
So that in 2024, because they started moving it in 2021.
Yes.
So, because they would have spoken to the engineers and would have said that by 2024, it will be fully installed.
That's true.
And then we can have the ceremony and name it Kumasi 1, and let the Ashanti region feel as if they count, because this is where we get a lot of votes for. Of course, I mean, the power outages, have affected all parts of the country, and this ostensibly is to go and the central part of the. So you can find reasons for it if we are looking at the power outages, but of course. Being politicians, they will try and take advantage of it. And I said it was planned, and it was planned to put there and then give it a name to make Ashanti region think that we are so concerned about them. But you see, they are negating everything with this outages that are happening, even with the American. Are they going to be able to fuel it? Because we know and we believe that it is a money problem. It is not that there's no gas. And so as much as possible that they've taken it there and it looks nice, there will still be the outages, and we will still move them out of power, and the Ashantis will still be unhappy with them. So it doesn't really matter. Right. They have sent it there. They have renamed it. Okay. We all know that it is whitewash. Yes, we want to be Ghanaianize the name. Fine, we will accept that, but we still know where it originated from.
Thank you.
And we also know the politics behind.
Okay.
And as for the truth, it will always be said.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Let me use the next 1 minute to read some messages. I have tons of them. But listen, good morning, team. I am King Zuba from Takwa. Mr. Speaker, if it is true that EC machines are missing, then the NDC and other political parties should be vigilant on the special voting. Thanks. I am Darko from Odomiabra. He says, hello, Metro TV. I've been watching your program, and I must commend you for wonderful work doing. I would also like to highly commend the MP for Asante North and the Apia Kubi. He seems to always pose a statesmanship voice in all national discourse. I really like the man. I pray he lives long. Ghana still has some good men alive. You know this man?
I don't.
Okay.
But I know that I'll live long.
That one, Good morning. Says facts are that the BVD machines are missing. The BVD only contains the preloaded register of one constituency stored in an SD card. So without the SD card, the device doesn't function. The EC gives QR codes, which are signed to one police station. So without EC giving you such a code, it does not work. The BVR, which is laptops, what people don't know is that the EC changes their IP address within every minute. They can give you an IP address or link. When you delay, it expires for you to request for a different IP. So as an IT person, nothing can happen in the database of the EC. My question then is, how does the NDC get to know those items? I conclude by saying, whoever alleges must prove it. By Honorable NK. This one says that that's a long one. This is an important issue that must be carefully and thoroughly investigated. The investigation must be done from several angles. The key question to me is, where were the machines kept? Who was put in charge of them? Were they all stolen in one day? Does the EC have a reliable and working CCTV system to conduct a check? Can these stolen or lost machines connect to the EC's LAN/WAN remotely? What credentials are required to access the network aside usernames and password? Which other codes are needed for access? How often are the codes generated, and what is the validity period? Are the serial numbers of MAC addresses of the machines known? If yes, they can be blocked from connecting to the network, even if their users have access credentials. Sounds like an IT person. And finally, good morning, Honorable Host. We, the constituents of Asante North, are very proud of our Honorable Member of Parliament. He's a true statesman, and I recommend he's selected to chair the Independent Committee Board for the probe. I bet you he's going to deliver. He cannot be influenced to act negatively to cost the nation. My name is Too Sweet from Asante North. Unfortunately, those of you, I can't read the other messages, but I also want to say a big thanks to Honorable Alex Segbefia, who's the Director of International Relations for the NDC. Thank you very much for making time. And also Susan Edu Amankwa is now with the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Watch out for them. They are coming like a kite. Anyway, so thank you very much for joining us as well. And also the Honorable, I call him Statesman, Andy Apia Kubi. Also joined as MP for Asante North. Wonderful gentleman. Have a great day. And also thanks to Albert Ahin and Selon Brante. Bye-bye.